trouble in Big D, man. I don't. So, man, Cowboys. We've talked about this time and time again. Jerry Jones just being out more for headlines than being out for winning, although he doesn't seem to realize or remember, I don't know, that the more you win, the more headlines you get. And those are the real headlines you want. But he doesn't seem to care as long as his guys are all over the TV and his team is all over the newspapers, for those who still read newspapers, and all over the internet and all over the podcast. Well, guess what, Jerry? I'm going to give you some attention today. My show is small, but I'm going to give you some attention. Cool. So what's going on in Dallas, man? The Cowboys are 1-2 to start the season. They are one of the worst freaking defenses, run and pass in the entire league. And they're just not playing well. And, well, we heard so much Cowboy talk all offseason, as we do every offseason, right? About Jerry and the Cowboys being all in and about not being in a rush to get guys signed. And then CeeDee Lamb held out and you finally gave in and you maxed him out. And then Dak Prescott, he was looking to likely be an unrestricted free agent at the end of this year. And you held out and you made sure you drew all of the attention possible out of it. And then you maxed him out right before the season started. I have no idea why you did that, but hey, it's going to come back to bite you. So you maxed out Dak instead of thinking, hey, maybe, we make him prove it. This is a prove it year, right? If he proves it, gets us either to the NFC Championship game or to the Super Bowl, we'll give him whatever he wants. If he wins the Super Bowl, we give him what, like, if I was an owner, that's how I would do it, especially in a situation like Dak. Okay, yeah, you were second team All-Pro last year, got it. You're a multiple-time Pro Bowler, got it. Okay, you can throw the ball, great. What is that doing for me when it counts most? And I've talked about this ad nauseum. You all know how I feel about overpaying guys who haven't earned it. And, well, you'll see in the next segment. But the point is, when it comes to this whole Dak thing, I really believe he just wanted all the attention of the sports news cycle all summer long. And that is what he did. He got all that attention. And right before the season started, he gave Dak the freaking, the biggest contract in league history. Again, I don't get it, man. So as we see here, Dak Prescott, 4 years, $240 million, 60 million average salary, a signing bonus of $80 million. So that gets that up front. 129 million guaranteed, a signing total guarantees of 231, which now surpasses the fully guaranteed deal of Deshaun Watson in Cleveland, 230 mil. But the difference is this is total guarantees versus fully guarantees. And you can look that up. But still, a lot of guaranteed money, and Dak is probably going to see all that. So I just, again, I totally don't get the reason why you did that. You went through all of that just to pay him, but fine, you paid him. Now, you got CD paid, you got Dak paid. After this year, you're probably going to need to figure out what you're going to do with Michael Parsons. And what is it getting you? It's getting you absolutely nothing because your team is bad. Your team is bad. And Transformer says here, what did he say? They are what? In trouble. Absolutely. I just don't get it. So you're watching this team and it's like they have no heart. Dak Prescott, he got paid and he almost seems to be like, hey, I'm good now. We've seen him basically, we've seen the Cowboys get roughed up a couple of times, and Dak has not, out of the first 3 games, played an outstanding game yet. He played so-so in the win against Cleveland in the opener, played like total garbage in the blowout loss at home against New Orleans. And then he played really badly, even though the numbers look good. He played badly against Baltimore. Now, that said, I will give credit. It looked like he tried to fight back against Baltimore, or maybe Baltimore did what Baltimore does and built a big lead and started, took their foot off the gas and let the Cowboys get back into the game. That's possible. But regardless, Dak looked like he really was trying to fight back. But to the Transformers point and G's point, we talked about this the other night. Dak has a habit of, racking up the numbers when the game is out of reach to make it look reasonable, right? So that, at the end of the year, well, I threw for this amount of yards and blah, blah, blah. And we saw it in the playoffs last year against Green Bay. And the thing that I always say is this: we can blame the defense all we want. And we're going to talk a little bit about that shortly. We can blame the defense all we want. At what point, what was it? is it 28-3 or something like that at one point on Sunday against the Ravens. Can't remember what the score was, but the Ravens were up huge. And I'm saying this, okay, your defense doesn't show up, but you're supposed to be that guy. You're the highest paid player in the history of the game, and people want to believe that you're some type of elite quarterback or very, very good quarterback. What are you supposed to do when your defense doesn't show up? You have to turn the game into a shootout. So every time they come out and score, you got to come out and score. They score, you score. They score, you score. Not get down into a terrible hole before you got to try to start throwing it all over the place to dig yourself out. That's what I'm saying. And we saw this in the playoffs against Green Bay. We saw it against Dallas the other day. We saw against New Orleans. Now, the game didn't get nearly as close against New Orleans, but it's the same thing over and over again. If you're that guy, you're Dak, why do you keep allowing your team to fall into these holes? Where is the production to pick up a defense that is playing terribly this year? Where is it? And so before he got paid, we're seeing all this business of, oh, well, if Jerry doesn't pay him, you're going to have a number of suitors who are going to be willing to give Dak $60 million a year on the open market. Who? How? Why? Are we serious here? How, Sway? You ain't got the answers? Like, I really don't get it. Who are these people? And why would you do that when you can see that he's not the guy that's going to take you over the top? Now you got a situation where I'm sure Mike McCarthy is going to get a whole bunch of the blame, and he's probably going to get fired after this year, right? He's a Super Bowl champion quarterback. If we're head coach, excuse me. If we're honest, Dak Prescott has had his most productive seasons as starting quarterback under Mike McCarthy. But guess what? They paid the player, so he's locked up. They got to deal with him, so they can't cut him. They have to fire the coach and bring in somebody else. And you fire the coach and bring in someone else, and we'll see the same thing all over again, that Dak simply isn't the guy to get you there. But so be it. Now, let's talk about this terrible defense, right? What the hell is going on with the Cowboys defense? They are getting gashed on the ground. I mean, it's terrible. I think the Ravens had almost 300 rushing yards against the Cowboys the other day. Just a second, I'll bring that up. I want to say it was 270 something. NFL. Sorry, I should have had this up. Scores. Sorry, guys. I should have had this up. I apologize. I'm looking at because I want the exact number here. Chargers, Steelers, Ravens, Cowboys. Here we go. And let's see. So the Ravens rushed for there we go. I thought it was 270. The Ravens rushed 45 times for 274 yards against the Cowboys the other day, giving up 6.1 yards per carry. That is horrendous. And Michael Parsons is out here getting upset with people. He's getting upset with his teammates, and they're not doing this and they're not doing that. What are you doing, Michael Parsons? You're supposed to be elite. Now, this is a guy who has had more than 13 sacks in each of his 3 professional seasons, so he's going to be looking for his money. He's been all-pro all 3 seasons. I think first team twice and second team last year, if I'm not mistaken, or maybe it was second team the second year and first year. But regardless, he's a guy who has been an elite pass rusher in his career thus far. And let's see. So far this season, Michael Parsons has, I wanted to see how many sacks he has. He has 1 sack. 1 sack. So he's projected for 5.7 sacks on the year. Now, I'm sure at some point he's going to break out, right? But the fact is this. Michael Parsons is another dude that gets a lot of hype. But if you watch, when he plays against the better teams, he disappears. He is not a game wrecker. So if you look at his physical tools and his natural ability, monster. But give me Aiden Hutchinson instead. Aiden Hutchinson's motor never goes off. He's always around the quarterback. And he is a legitimate game wrecker. He's been that since college, and we see it in the league. Give me him. I will take him over Michael Parsons. Is he as gifted physically? No. But he works more, and he doesn't disappear in the big games. And for me, that's a problem. Like, where is that? And now, on back to the offense, you're seeing when Dak doesn't play well and the offense isn't clicking. Now you're starting to see some frustration. And don't get me wrong, these guys are all, testosterone filled, A type A personalities and alpha guys, right? But the fact is, when the offense is not clicking and guys aren't getting it done, now you're starting to see this this beef creeping up between CeeDee Lamb and Dak Prescott. And guess what? You're stuck with them both. So now you got a situation where you overpaid this guy. Jerry Jones refuses to acknowledge that he should step away and bring in a real football person to be the GM. Like, why can't you just do that? Have you not seen what the great Robert Kraft did? Have you not seen what what's his name? Mr. Hunt in Kansas City did? Like, all these other guys who win championships, they step aside and let their football people do their football work. And when it comes time, guess what? They get the ultimate recognition, because who gets to hold the championship trophy first? The owner. They give it to the owner first, and then they pass it around. So why can't you do that, Jerry? Are you not seeing that your ego is so big that it's hurting you? Your ego is so big that it's what's keeping you from winning and doing what you say you want most. I don't believe you want it most. I don't believe you want a championship as bad as you do. You want a championship badly, but you only want it your way. You only want it being the reason. Man, to hell with that. Get your championships, win, get your money, right? Because we know how much money championship runs generate, especially if you have multiple home games in the playoff. We know how much money that generates. So get your money, get your titles, and everyone will respect you the same way. But nope, you got to do your radio show every week. You got to be the guy that reporters are looking for to stick their camera in the face after every game. You got to be the guy that the camera's always going up to the box and showing your face. You got to be the guy making all the personnel decisions. You got to be the guy. You got to be the guy. You got to be the guy. What's up, man? Do you really care about winning, or do you just care about being in the limelight? That's what I don't understand. That's what I don't understand. Now, I'll say this. Has your way of doing things made your team, your organization, your franchise the most valuable sports franchise on God's green earth? It absolutely has, right? $10 billion valuation. And I'm sure if you were to decide to sell it, somebody probably give you 13 or 14 for it. That's how real the Dallas Cowboys are. Their fan base is gigantic. The amount of merch they sell, so on and so forth. You would get so much money if you decided to sell that. So I get it. But if you're talking about winning, how about you just stop telling us how you would do anything and there's no check you wouldn't write to get another Lombardi? How about you stop telling us that and do what it really takes to get a Lombardi? Get out of the way and stop being the reason that your team is going through all this. Because now, I think it's a pretty fair assumption. Could be wrong. It's only 3 games in. But I think it's a pretty fair assumption that you'll be moving on to another head coach next season. And the problem is, you can only have certain head coaches because you have to be the guy that's always, again, in the limelight. You got to be the guy that controls everything. You can't just be hands off and let your coaches coach. You can't just have a GM and a president like a normal franchise and let them deal with things, and you only deal with the stuff that has to come to the top, or whether it deals with signing checks. You can't do that because your ego won't allow it. And that's cool. That's cool. But don't sit here and tell us how much you want to win and how badly you want to win and how you'll do anything to win, because it's not true. It's just not true. We all see it. We all know it. Just stop. Just stop. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. Yeah. So I don't know. They need to figure out a way to do better in the draft. They need to figure out what they're going to do with Michael Parsons. Now, Michael Parsons, for all of what I said earlier, he's still an elite pass rusher, right? So what are some of your options with Michael Parsons? Obviously, you sign him to a max deal, because if you do, he's going to be the highest paid non-quarterback in the history of the NFL. So be it. That's just how it goes. We got this business of whoever's up next in the NFL. Don't really like it. I've talked about it ad nauseum, but that's the way they do things. And we'll talk about that some more in the next topic. But regardless, you do that. But what's a better option? Michael Parsons, again, an elite pass rusher. What do? He's still young. He's very healthy. He's very productive. Trade him and get a haul. You get players, you get picks. You can extend out this roster that you have, and then you don't have to worry about paying him. Trade him and get a haul. That's what you should do, because you already got a ton of money tied up in Dak and CeeDee Lamb. And here's the other crazy thing. You know, people have asked Jerry Jones about why he didn't get Derrick Henry. I believe Derrick Henry has a house in Dallas. And I said it last year. If the Cowboys had gotten Derrick Henry via trade, they probably would have a championship now. Like the way Dak was playing last year, as much as I get on Dak, he was playing at an extremely high level. But now you add into that an old school power eye back, right? last time we saw the Cowboys really have one of those, what did it result in? 3 championships, right? So if they had gotten Derrick Henry, I truly believe they would have won the title last year. But, Jerry Jones didn't want to do that. And now he's pushing the nonsense of they couldn't afford it. They didn't have the money. Man, stop it, Jerry. You got the money. Because I remember him saying something to the effect, I don't know if it was when Stephen A. Smith was interviewing him a few weeks ago or someone else during the summer, and he was talking about, well, there's only but so much money, and, to pay these guys, you got to put stuff on the credit card and all that. Man, listen, you got a $10 billion plus franchise. And what I also didn't know, if you own these franchises, like you can borrow against them. So let's just say hypothetically that you don't have the money. We know you do. But let's just say hypothetically you don't have the money. You could borrow against it, pay the guys you need to pay, win, make all this money, and then you just pay the loan off. Like this, I don't know. It doesn't seem that difficult, man. But the way Jerry is moving and the way these Cowboys are moving, they are in huge trouble. I don't think that they're going to, I know they're not going to be able to get it done because Dak isn't that dude. But now again, you're tied to this guy for what, the next 4 years? I don't know. I think it's just completely ridiculous. And I don't know what made you make that move. But hey, it is what it is. So what I want to do now, I'm going to go ahead, open up the phone lines here for this, 904-219-8264. I'll put it in the chat, and it's also scrolling on the bottom of your screen. I would love to hear some of you guys' thoughts on Dak Prescott, his new deal, Jerry Jones not wanting to get out of the way of his team, and Mike McCarthy, his future. What's the deal in Dallas? What are they going to do? How are they going to get out of this trouble they're in? Because they are bad. And 2 things. What do I always talk about? Stop the run, run the ball. They can't do either one. They cannot do either one. They can't run it. They can't stop the run. They're getting gassed. And everyone they play this year is going to be attacking them right up the gut to try and run this football. So, yeah, 904-219-8264. I would love your thoughts on the Dallas Cowboys, Jerry Jones, Mike McCarthy, Dak Prescott, whatever else you want to talk about in reference to the Cowboys and what you think is going to go on going forward. In the meantime, I'm waiting. Do we have any new comments? No. Okay. Yeah, man. I don't know. This Cowboy thing is just crazy to me, and I can't understand why it's so difficult to get it right. I really don't. And I'm not saying winning a Super Bowl is easy, right? Dan Marino is one of the greatest players ever, one of the greatest quarterbacks ever. He couldn't get one. So we get it, but I don't know, man. I don't know. I think Jerry just can't get out of his own way, and he can't get out of his team's way. And that's why they're not getting it done. All right. Looks like we're not going to have any calls on this topic. So let's move on to the last one. And then that'll be it for today. And then I guess tomorrow night we'll have another one. All right. So, Trevor Lawrence and the oh no, we got one. Let's take this. Transformer, what's good, brother?
What's going on, my boy?
Maintaining.
How you doing?
Doing all right, man. Just here, kicking it with the people,
I hear you kicking it with the people, but I hear that you want to discuss something about the turmoil that's going on and what you and I said, Big D.
Yeah. What you got?
First of all, man, those guys are in trouble.
Big trouble.
They're in big trouble, and the bad things about this is that they can't fix it. All right, and I mean this by saying, what can you do to stop a team from running over an average of 100 yards a game and scoring 8 rushing touchdowns? What can you do about that? All right, that sounds like you need a personnel change. Give me a D tackle that's on the market that you can go and get. Nobody. There's not a solid D tackle that can go and stop the run to fill in those gaps. Okay, so what's your secondary problem? All right, you can't find a decent secondary game. Why? Oh, well, guess what? Your top corner just came off of a devastating injury last year. All right, your safety's just getting hit over the top with every freaking ball there is. Give me a good corner and safety that's currently on the market. Can't find one? That sounds like a bad problem. Not only are you letting other teams run the ball with ferocious intent, I believe your average is 62 yards a game. You average 62 yards of rushing a game. Only scored 2 touchdowns from the rushing perspective. Give me a running back that's on the market that you can go and get. Can't find one? Sounds like you still have a problem. So
yeah, but they blew that. They could have found one, but they didn't. But go ahead.
But I'm talking about at the moment.
Okay,
right?
okay,
like
I got
you.
I
Had the
got you.
opportunity during the offseason, the Derrick Henry talk,
Mm-hmm.
and all of those spoken about players that you guys wanted to go get. You guys did not go and get, right? So the whole all in by Jerry Jones didn't seem all in to me. When you still have a gapping issue in the rushing department, you have a gapping issue in your D tackle department, and the secondary is trying to thrive off of Diggs, who is a good cornerback. I think he gets a lot more love than what he should get because he gets beat deep a lot. Like if that's one thing he gets beat on, he gets beat deep. All right. So when you're trying to fix an issue, how can you fix an issue when you don't have the personnel? All right. I say Micah Parsons. What are we about to pay Micah Parsons? All right, to be a ferocious defensive end who can not only play the rush game, he can also play pass. He can get after your passer, right?
Mm-hmm.
I haven't seen Micah Parsons in say 7-8 months. like where is he at? Where is he at? This is supposed to be the next generation. I think they need to stop this. Of LT, Lawrence Taylor, right?
I never believed that foolishness. That was so disrespectful.
I mean, without him having a lot of skin in the game, we're comparing him to Lawrence Taylor. I would call Lawrence Taylor when the time matters the most. He's going to get a big sack. He's terrifying your quarterback. People were terrified of Lawrence Taylor. I mean, part of that was due because he was, coked up the whole time. You're legit scared of him. But the man was a ferocious rusher to get after your pass. So where's Micah Parsons? You know what I mean? So in terms of trouble, you guys have a personnel issue. You guys have a rushing issue. You guys have a D tackle issue. You have a too hype on the Micah Parsons train issue. You have a Jerry Jones puts his face in the cameras for no reason at all because it ain't got nothing to do with winning issue. You have now a seemingly coaching issue when the coaching issue wasn't happening when Dak Prescott was throwing for 350 yards in garbage time and you guys kept winning 12 wins the back-to-back years, right? So what do you do? What do you do as a Dallas team?
So you make a lot of great points in terms of availability and personnel that can help fix some of this. But you have the personnel that you have, right? And I get that part. But this is where you're paying these coaches this money. So Zimmer better figure it out. Zimmer is one of the better defensive coordinators in the league for a while. This is where you got to scheme things up. I get it. You don't have that 3 technique to stop the run and really be that guy on the interior. But now you have to start scheming stuff up. You have to. That's your job.
Yeah.
If you're getting your linebackers or maybe your safeties more involved in the run game, because now until you stop the run, every team you line up against is going to line up and try to punch you in the mouth. So you have to be prepared for that. You have to. And so if you're Zimmer, you have to scheme it up with what you've got. That's my thought. But I totally get what you're saying.
No. I mean, you make a great point right there because what Mike Zimmer did when he was in, I believe, Minnesota, he was playing against us a lot. He would draw schemes up to stop Aaron Rodgers in some of his best games, right, in order to beat him. And then on occasion against other teams with prolific passers, he draws up schemes. But okay, he drew up schemes with that personnel. Isn't Dallas personnel better than what he had in Minnesota? I would argue and say yeah, because you got a Lawrence Taylor, right? I don't think Minnesota had a Lawrence Taylor.
Man, you got to stop, man. You got to stop.
You have a Pro Bowl quarterback in Trevon Diggs. I don't think you had a Pro Bowl quarterback at one point in time, but he ended up leaving. I'm talking about Jesus Christ, his name is leaving my mind right now. But you had one, but then you lost him. But you guys still were a great defense.
So what happened to Bland though? On the other side, what happened to Bland? Because he had a great year last year while Trevon Diggs was out.
Yeah, getting cooked.
Okay.
You ever been to a restaurant where they serve some good fried chicken?
Yes, I have.
That's Bland right now. He's currently getting deep fried, and And right now, I mean, I don't know what the issue is. Maybe he was expecting a little bit more praise from what he did when Trevon Diggs was out. You know, again, that's probably an egotistical issue dealing with him. But you're right. I mean, Diggs comes back, and now you're seemingly a no-show. All right, but that's just the defensive side of the ball. All right, the offensive side of the ball, we have to stop this praising of Dak Prescott.
Hey.
And thinking he's coming in a close game with the numbers that he throws in after he's down 3 or 4 touchdowns. I mean, like what we saw against the Ravens, he was down 28-3 at one point.
Yeah.
Okay, so 28-3. I'm just the devil's advocate here. Let's just say the Ravens had to score 4 touchdowns. I'm not even going to count any field goals. But I mean, the Ravens went down 4 times on 4 different possessions, but he scored a touchdown. That means on the flip side, you had 4 opportunities with the ball to go and score
exactly.
You had to score. So you can't just seemingly blame it on the defense. Now, if this is a 34-33 game and you guys lost in it, please, okay. I have nothing to blame on Dak Prescott. The defense needs to show up. Lawrence Taylor, Dallas Cowboy version needs to show up, right? But that's not the issue. You guys were down 28-3. So that means out of the 4 times that you had possession of the football, you can only muster up 3 points. You're a $60 million quarterback. You're a $60 million quarterback.
I'm with you.
Cut that number in half, I need 30 points. I need 30 points.
That's right. That's right. When you're getting paid like that, I don't care what you think. You got to get it done. And we'll talk about that some more on the next topic. But definitely, I agree.
No, you do have to get it done. And the whole comeback thing, I mean, anybody can have a ferocious comeback because defenses do get lazy. And I think that's what the Ravens did. They got a little lazy. The design is when you're up that big, you put everything in front of you. You don't want to get beat over the top.
Nothing cheap, nothing deep.
Coverage. Nothing cheap, nothing deep. So everything is soft coverage. You keep some receivers in front of you. So, of course, you can start mustering up 2 or 3 or 4 drives. You get an onside kick. Now the Ravens are kind of like, whoa, wait a minute. I think we played a little too soft. But the Ravens had to get to that point. They had to play soft, right?
Yeah.
Play soft coverage. And that's when you now decide to, okay, now let's go get him. Absolutely not. I'm not paying you $60 million to be a safe down.
Right.
I'm not. That's what I'm not paying you for. I'm paying you to keep me in these ball games, to go out and win these ball games. And if that other team shows up with their quarterback and they're scoring 30, you can also score 30. But then guess what? You get paid more than that. So show me why I'm paying you more than them.
And this, hey, we are on the same page. This is what I've been saying. Remember all summer I'm screaming, don't do it, Jerry, don't do it. He did it.
Well, we know Jerry's going to do it. This guy gets like, I promise you, I'll be glad when the media finally just be like, hey, man, Jerry's going to pay the guy. Because Jerry goes to the podium, this whole, we're not worried about the contract. And, well, 1 + 1 = 2 goldfish. And you're like, what the hell are you saying?
Yeah.
What ain't got nothing to do with this man's contract? 2 weeks later, guess what? You paid him. So,
and you know what's funny? I drank the Kool-Aid. I thought that he really had smartened up and he was going to make him earn it and prove it this year.
No.
I drank the Kool-Aid, man.
I'm a fool. This boy Zeke went to Cabo and chilling, and you still paid him. You tried to play with CD Lamb. You ended up paying him. You did this dog and pony show with Dak Prescott, but we know that you wasn't going to put not Amari Cooper, the backup quarterback. What's his name? Cooper? I think it's
Cooper Kupp. Not Cooper Kupp. No, Cooper Rush.
Cooper Rush. There you go. Cooper Rush. So we know you wasn't going to put Cooper Rush in charge of your team and try to go win a Super Bowl because guess what, Jerry? You're saying you're all in. You're all in. So that means you're going to pay him. You're going to pay him because you have no choice because you already said the word all in. But
he said the words all in and he didn't do anything that even remotely resembles all in all summer.
Nothing remotely is. I just don't get it.
Oh, my bad. He's all in, so he brought back Zeke. You're right. He was all in.
No, he's all in. He's all in. He's all in on the promos, the videos.
Yes.
He's all in on the interviews. He's all in on the mic being in the place.
He's all in on the radio show.
The Dallas Cowboy coverage, the radio show, like you just said. The media talk, us talking about him.
Facts.
That's what you all in on.
No doubt.
You just want some type of story He'd be like, "Hey man, I know we're probably not going to win the Super Bowl, but guess what? Before I die, you guys are going to talk nothing but Cowboys all freaking year, long. You're going to talk about my Dallas Cowboys, whether it's win, lose, or draw. Because guess what? You're America's team, Jerry. We get it. But stop the dog and pony show, bro. Just stop it, man. Just stop it, man. But
bad look.
Yeah, that's it, man. That's my take on what's going down in Big D. We're gonna pause that. We're gonna definitely pause that.
You know what? Nah, I'll let you live on that one. It's all good. That's that's one of those things that is, you know, that's not even pause worthy. We good there.
No, bro. But yeah, man, that's all I got for you, brother.
All right, man. I appreciate the call, bro. Thank you.
No, absolutely. Have a great show, brother.
All right, man. Take it easy.
Yes, sir.
Good call from my main man, Transformer, as usual. And you guys will see the Transformer back tomorrow night on the show. All right, cool. If anyone else has anything to add about the Cowboys, go ahead, give us a call or put it in the chat, and we can go on and move to the final topic. So I'll wait another quick minute, see if anybody else has anything to say, and then we'll go from there.